Hello, dear friends. I am Dr. Nikolai Stepanovich Orlov, a surgeon with 40 years of experience, a man dedicated to working with vessels, the heart, and treating the consequences of an unhealthy lifestyle. Today, I want to talk about a substance that may surprise many who have tried various methods. This is an ordinary powder that is quite inexpensive and available at any pharmacy. It can gently cleanse the body of excess cholesterol and sugar without harming the liver or straining the heart. I say this with
I
complete
understand your
confidence,
concerns,
as I
but
personally
there are
recommend it to my
several
patients
effective
and see
treatment
positive
options we can
effects. But before we begin, let me make a request to you. If you want simple and accessible health advice to reach those who truly need it, support our project by subscribing. This is not just a formality, but your opportunity to help spread useful information. Write in the comments, "I choose health," if you want to learn how to extend the youth of your body without expensive medications. Your response is not just numbers, but a signal that we are moving in the right direction. Now, I will tell you an interesting fact that I am sure will surprise you. It turned out that just 1 teaspoon of this powder can lower blood sugar levels almost as effectively as type 2 diabetes medication, and without side effects. Moreover, it cleanses the vessels and lowers the level of so-called bad cholesterol. Scientific studies have long confirmed these properties, but unfortunately, not everyone talks about them, and that's a real shame. Why do I consider this especially important for people over 60? With age, metabolism changes. What was once burned in a day can now accumulate in vessels and the liver. The body begins to work slower, cells respond worse to insulin, and sugar levels rise even if you hardly consume sweets. Blood becomes thicker, vessels narrow, pressure fluctuates, and symptoms of fatigue, fog in the head, and lethargy appear after eating. This is not a sign of aging, but a result of the accumulation of substances the body can no longer handle: sugar and cholesterol. I always tell my patients, imagine that your body is like a river. When it flows quickly, everything in it is clean and alive, but if the flow slows down, sediments begin to settle at the bottom: silt and dirt. Over time, the riverbed becomes silted. The same happens to our body when we move little, eat hastily, and do not help ourselves to cleanse. And here comes this amazing powder to help. Its action is not aggressive or chemical, it is natural. Like nature itself, it acts like a sponge, absorbing sugar and cholesterol, preventing them from settling on the walls of the vessels. Over time, the body begins to cleanse itself, digestion improves, pressure stabilizes, and the feeling of heaviness disappears. I know what I'm talking about. Over the years of my practice, I have seen many elderly patients with the same complaints: fatigue, high sugar, thick blood, excess weight, and dizziness. They all hoped for pills. When we started adding this powder to our diet, its effect was gentle and gradual, yet noticeable within a few weeks. People became more active, their skin took on a healthy flush, sleep improved, and blood pressure fluctuations ceased. In one of the next parts, I will explain in detail what this powder is, how it works, and why it is particularly effective for the elderly. But before we move on to this topic, I want to explain where the excess sugar and cholesterol in the body come from and how it affects your health. Understanding the reasons, you will have already done half the work. So stay with me until the end, and I promise you will hear what is usually not spoken openly. You will learn how to restore purity, lightness, and energy to your body without medicines and extra costs. If you're interested, support this video by liking it so it reaches those looking for real, time-tested solutions rather than trendy additions. Let's figure out where excess sugar and cholesterol come from in our bodies, why they start to accumulate with age, and what can be done simply and safely about it. I always tell my patients that sugar and cholesterol are not just harmful substances, but natural components of our metabolism. People are surprised because sugar is fuel and cholesterol is a building material for cells and hormones. The problem is not their presence, but that they become too many, and the body can no longer cope with this excess. With age, metabolism does slow down, and cells become less sensitive to insulin, the hormone that helps sugar enter cells and be used as energy. When sensitivity decreases, sugar remains in the blood. The organism doesn't know where to put it and starts hiding it in fat deposits. This leads to excess weight, fatigue, cravings for sweets, and mood swings. When there is too much sugar in the blood, the walls of the vessels get damaged, and cholesterol begins to settle on these damages like a patch on a crack. This is a protective reaction, but it leads to the formation of plaques and worsens blood flow. Everything is interconnected. Sugar damages the vessels, cholesterol tries to restore them, and we get what is commonly called age-related changes. Although it is not actually old age, it is a signal that the body needs help. Many elderly people notice that they start to tire, even after a regular walk. Their hands or feet become cold, and after eating, drowsiness sets in. These are manifestations of those internal disruptions that happen unnoticed day by day. We often think, well, this is age. But I always say, age is not a sentence, but just a new mode of the body's functioning. If you help the body cleanse itself properly, restore cell sensitivity, and improve the outflow of excess, it will start functioning like clockwork again. And then I ask the question, you wash your hands every day, but when was the last time you cleaned your vessels? People laugh, but then they ponder. We clean everything, windows, the house, dishes, but we only remember about inner cleanliness when diagnoses appear. I often explain it this way. Blood can be compared to the plumbing system in a house. If a thick and viscous liquid flows through pipes for a long time, a coating forms on the walls, the flow becomes less intense, the pressure fluctuates, and the water loses its clarity. The same happens with vessels. Our task is not to destroy cholesterol, but to help the body get rid of its excess, making the blood lighter and cleaner so the heart will function more stably. This is why in recent years, doctors have increasingly emphasized soluble fiber. This is not just a trendy fad or advertising. It is a scientifically grounded approach. Soluble fiber found in certain plants, especially in the husk of psyllium seeds, acts as a gentle natural filter. It binds sugar and fats in the intestine, preventing them from entering the bloodstream. Imagine a sponge that travels through your intestines, absorbing excess sugar, cholesterol, and even toxins, and then expelling them outside. This is the principle behind the powder I mentioned at the beginning. It does not aggressively interfere with metabolism, but merely aids in restoring the natural balance in the body. Interestingly, the effect is felt not only in test results, but also in overall well-being. Many patients note that after 2 weeks of regular intake, heaviness after meals disappears, bloating goes away, bowel movements normalize, and after a month, real results become noticeable. Blood sugar and bad cholesterol levels decrease. At the same time, this happens smoothly, without sharp jumps in stress for the body. Let me give an example from my practice. A 72-year-old man, Alexander Pavlovich, came to me. He had high blood pressure, elevated sugar levels, and cholesterol that was also above the permissible limit. He didn't want to take a lot of pills. We decided to start with adjusting his diet, increasing physical activity, and using this powder. 3 months later, he brought me the test results. The sugar level has normalized, cholesterol has decreased, and he said, "Doctor, I wake up without heaviness in my head. It seems I am living again." That's why I always say, don't rush to swallow pills when you can first help the body naturally. Next, I will tell you more about what this powder is, how it works, and why it is safe even for people with diabetes, hypertension, or excess weight. You will see that miracles do not exist. Just a little knowledge and self-care are enough. For now, I want to ask you, if you resonate with the idea of gentle, natural cleansing of the body, write in the comments, "Nature heals." Your words inspire just as much as medicines. And don't forget to support our project. This way you help convey important knowledge to those who need it most. So, let's figure out what this powder is and how it works. It is called psyllium, or psyllium seed husk. This is a completely natural substance created by nature, as if specifically for humans, without chemicals, additives, and harm. When this powder hits the water, it instantly turns into a soft, thick gel. And this is where the interesting part begins. Upon reaching the stomach and intestines, psyllium acts like a smart sponge, absorbing excess sugar, fat, and cholesterol, preventing them from immediately entering the bloodstream. Thanks to this, the sugar level after eating rises more slowly and eventually normalizes. Imagine you ate a piece of bread or a bit of potato. The sugar from these products was supposed to immediately enter the bloodstream, but psyllium, intercepting some of the glucose, holds it and slowly transfers it to the body. This allows the pancreas to function without sharp spikes. For elderly people, this is especially important, as sharp changes in blood sugar levels can deplete the body and lead to type 2 diabetes. But the most interesting thing is that psyllium is not limited to just working with sugar. It also helps eliminate excess cholesterol from the body. When the gel passes through the intestines, it absorbs bile acids produced from cholesterol like a sponge. This means that for the next portion of digestion, the body has to use old cholesterol from the blood, and its level gradually decreases. This process occurs naturally, without chemical intervention. Thus, psyllium cleanses the vessels, helping them become more elastic, allowing blood to circulate more easily and maintain normal pressure. I often tell my patients, psyllium acts imperceptibly. It does not provoke sharp reactions or grant instant miracles. It simply performs its work step by step, helping the body restore its inner purity. It's like daily cleaning your vessels from the inside, and with age, the difference becomes increasingly noticeable. There is another important aspect that many do not know. Psyllium is food for beneficial bacteria in the intestines. It acts as a prebiotic, promoting the growth and strengthening of the microbiome, which affects almost everything: immunity, mood, and even joint health. When the microflora is in order, food is absorbed better, the body extracts more vitamins and minerals, and inflammatory processes are reduced. Recent studies show that regular consumption of psyllium helps lower not only blood sugar and cholesterol levels, but also glycated hemoglobin. This indicator allows doctors to assess the average sugar level over several months. Thus, the effect of this powder is not short-term, but cumulative. Let me tell you one vivid case. A 68-year-old woman, Maria Ivanovna, came to me. She had diabetes, high cholesterol, and a constant feeling of heaviness after meals. We added just 1 teaspoon of psyllium to her diet before lunch and dinner, which she washed down with a large glass of water. A month later, she came to me with a smile and said, "Doctor, for the first time in years, I feel light in my stomach. My mood has changed too." Tests showed that her sugar levels had dropped and bad cholesterol had fallen by almost 20%. There are many such stories. This is not a miracle, but physiology. The organism is capable of self-purification if suitable conditions are created for it. That is why I strongly recommend psyllium to everyone over 60, especially those prone to high blood pressure, suffering from diabetes, or having digestive issues. This is not a remedy, but a tool that aids recovery, working in sync with the body. However, there is one important rule. Psyllium must be taken with a sufficient amount of water, as it turns into a gel that can absorb liquid. If there is not enough water, it can lead to a feeling of heaviness in the stomach. Therefore, I always emphasize, a spoon is needed, not a glass of powder, but with water, as nature itself prescribes. If you resonate with the idea of gentle cleansing without chemical additives, leave a comment. I care for myself. This is not just a phrase, it is a step towards conscious health. And, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss the next part, where I will explain how to properly take psyllium, when to take it, what to combine it with, and who it is especially beneficial for. Believe me, there are nuances that almost no one talks about, but they determine whether the powder will be really beneficial or just a waste of time. Let's figure out how to properly take psyllium to maximize its benefits and avoid harm. Even the most useful remedy only works when used wisely. The first thing to know is that psyllium is not a pill or a supplement for the sake of it. It is a nutrient. It does not heal but helps the body perform its functions, cleansing, regulating, and balancing. Therefore, it is important to treat it calmly, like a product that you add to your daily diet. You should start gradually. Initially, half a teaspoon in a glass of water is enough. Stir the powder and let it sit for 1 or 2 minutes to turn into a thick gel, then drink it. It is best to take psyllium 15 to 20 minutes before meals, both in the morning and in the evening. This way, it will prepare the digestive tract, absorb excess bile and sugar, and create a feeling of slight fullness, which will help you eat less. After a week, the dose can be increased to 1 teaspoon per intake. Some need 2 intakes a day, others just 1. It all depends on well-being and diet. The main rule: always wash down psyllium with enough water. Each meal should include at least 1 glass, and throughout the day, one should drink no less than 1.5 liters of liquid. If one does not drink enough, psyllium can cause heaviness or constipation. It is important to remember that psyllium is not a laxative, as many believe. It does not irritate the intestines, but gently regulates their function, helping to make bowel movements regular without spasms or dependency. Many elderly people, having tried it, are surprised to notice that their intestines begin to work like clockwork. This indicates that the body is restoring its natural rhythm. If you take medications, such as those for blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol levels, be sure to take a break of at least 1 to 2 hours between them and psyllium. This is important because the gel-like structure of the powder can slow down the absorption of the medication. There are many useful recommendations that I share with my patients. If you need to normalize blood sugar levels, it is worth taking psyllium before main meals. For those who want to lower cholesterol, it can be added to cereals, kefir, or yogurt. Psyllium retains its properties and pairs well with various products. If you wish to improve digestion and relieve heaviness after a meal, take it in the evening 30 minutes before sleep. Let me tell you a little story. I had a patient named Viktor Semyonovich. He was 74 years old. He had long suffered from high cholesterol and irregular bowel movements. We spent a long time adjusting his diet and medications until we started adding psyllium. A month later, he came to me and said, "Doctor, you know, I felt as if my body has started working again. Forgive my frankness, but even going to the bathroom has become as easy as it was in my youth." It may not sound impressive, but such moments truly restore the quality of life, and subsequent test results showed a 15% reduction in cholesterol without a single pill. There's one more important point I would like to warn about. One should not strive for instant results. Psyllium acts gently and gradually. Usually, the first changes can be noticed in 10 to 14 days, but the real benefits manifest after a month. The body needs time to adjust, restore its microbiome and metabolism. This is a natural process that cannot be rushed. If you often forget to drink water or have irregular meals, start with a minimal dose, half a teaspoon once a day. Only when you get used to it, add a second dose. Remember, it is not the quantity, but the regularity that brings results. Psyllium can be combined with other beneficial products such as kefir, buttermilk, or low-fat yogurt. This creates a light cleansing effect and is perfect for breakfast. A little cinnamon can be added to enhance the effect of psyllium on blood sugar and give a pleasant taste. And if you add a teaspoon of honey, it becomes a soft drink that boosts the immune system. It's all easy, non-addictive, and suitable even for those with chronic illnesses. The main thing is to do everything with attention and without haste. And I want to emphasize, don't wait for the doctor to make a diagnosis. You can start helping your body at any moment. Each spoonful of psyllium is like a brush that gently cleanses the body from within. You don't feel pain, you don't take chemical pills, but step by step you restore your body's health. If you have already tried this powder, share your experience. And if you're just about to start, this could be your first step towards purification. Now you understand that this simple powder is not just a novelty, but a true treasure of nature. It does not promise miracles in a day, does not replace a doctor, and does not require large expenses. But if you allow it to take its place in your life, it can gently and profoundly change how you feel. I often wonder why so little is said about this. Why do we hear about a new drug costing thousands of rubles, but not about what truly helps many people?